Welcome everyone to Money Magnum's Picks, and in this video I am going to give you my picks for the upcoming NFL 2024-2025 season. Before we get started, hit the like and subscribe. Hopefully you're able to subscribe so I can give you more content. The last time I was here in Vegas actually, and I'm here in Vegas, I did futures for baseball, and I'll probably do a review on how I did on my picks. But today I am going to give you my picks for the NFL season. I'm going to give you the winners of every division, who I think is going to make the wild card, and also who is going to win each conference. So I will not give you a Super Bowl pick, but I'll give you everything else as well as some prop bets that I have in mind. But let's start, and we'll start with the NFC West, where the 49ers are favored at minus 225, the Rams at plus 350, followed by the Seahawks at plus 800, and the Cardinals at plus 1300. I like the 49ers in this division, especially if two things happen. One, Trent Williams gets signed, and the second, Brandon Ayuk also gets signed. If Brandon Ayuk is traded, then the Rams have a significant shot to win the division. It will change the odds. It will change the paradigm of the division. But I like the 49ers starting out, assuming that those two things are going to happen. They sign Trent Williams and they sign Brandon Ayuk. So let's move on to the NFC East, where the Eagles are favored at minus 130, followed by the Cowboys at plus 175, the Commanders at plus 1,000, and the Giants at plus 1,200. I like the Eagles and what they did in the offseason, adding Saquon Barkley to the offense. This offense is going to be explosive this season. If everybody's healthy for the most part, I think this offense can go really far. I think they can make a deep playoff run, but I am taking them to win the division. The Dallas Cowboys, in my opinion, have three people they got to re-sign, and honestly, Dak Prescott looks like he is going to be an unrestricted free agent. This might be the last dance for the Dallas Cowboys, but they didn't even add any extra players to their roster and boost their roster. So that's why I don't have them winning the division, but I have them likely as a wild card or fighting for the wild card, or if it gets really bad, they might not even make the playoffs. So that's who I'm taking. I'm taking the Eagles in the division. Moving on to the NFC South. The Falcons are favored this year at minus 135, followed by the Bucs at plus 330, the Saints at plus 425, and the Panthers at plus 1,000. I really like what the Falcons have done, adding Kirk Cousins as their quarterback with all the talent, young talent that they have. So I really like the Falcons, but there is a risk to be had with the Bucs. The Bucs made the playoffs last year. I actually have them as a wild card if they don't win the division. So I would probably put some money on the Bucs. They have a good wide receiver core. I think Baker Mayfield found a home in Tampa. Their defense is pretty decent. I think they're going to be able to compete. I think they could get to 9 wins in the division, but I think it's going to take 10 to win the division. I think it's either the Falcons or the Bucs. I like the Bucs actually as a risk to win the division. And moving on to the NFC North, where the Lions are favored at plus 130, the Packers follow at plus 230, the Bears at plus 320, and the Vikings at plus 750. I like the Lions. The Lions have the best offensive line in the league. They have the best offensive lineman in Penei Sewell in the league, and I like the dynamic of their offense. I love their coach. I really think that the Lions can repeat as division champions, but they're going to offer a challenge. They're going to be succumb to a challenge by the Green Bay Packers, who in my opinion got the best quarterback in the division in Jordan Love. They have young wide receivers. They have a decent defense. I think they're going to be able to make the playoffs. They went on a deeper run last year by defeating the Dallas Cowboys and then just lost in a heartbreaker to the 49ers. So I expect the Packers to make the playoffs, but I like the Lions in the division. And then watch out for the Bears. The Bears are actually going to determine who ends up winning the division out of those two, because I think they're going to be a disruptor. Their offense is very good. It's very talented. They're pretty decent on defense. They got the number 1 pick in Caleb Williams. So I expect the Bears to do some damage this season. But I am picking the Lions to win the division. So moving on to the AFC, let's start with the AFC West. The Chiefs favored at minus 250, followed by the Chargers at plus 350, the Raiders at plus 1,000, and the Broncos at plus 1,600. The Chiefs are the defending back-to-back Super Bowl champions. I think they're going to win the division. They're going to be on a mission to go for that three-peat. The Chargers, who have added a new coach in Jim Harbaugh, they have a lot of talent offensively, but unfortunately they've been underachieving. And then the Raiders, who also had gotten a spark, adding a new coach in Antonio Pierce, but they have a quarterback situation. I would love my Raiders to really compete for a wildcard spot. Realistically, it's going to be tough, but I hope they're able to compete seriously for the division. But it's going to be the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to be easily run the division, so I don't see any problems there. I am taking the Chiefs. Moving on to the AFC East, where the Bills, the Jets, both tied for the best odds at plus 180, followed by the Dolphins at plus 190, and then the Patriots at plus 2,800. Any one of those three, the Bills, the Jets, and the Dolphins, can win the division. The Bills don't have Stephon Diggs. He was traded to the Houston Texans. The Jets get back Aaron Rodgers after that horrible Achilles injury. And then the Dolphins, who lost Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. So I still like the Bills in this division, even though they don't have a true number one wide receiver. The wide receiver that they have by committee, I think, is going to be good enough. They drafted a rookie in the second round. So I like Josh Allen to figure it out as long as he doesn't have any huge turnovers that can impact their team and encourage losses for the Buffalo Bills. The Jets, I think they're going to be very competitive. I think Rodgers is going to play okay. I think their defense is elite, so I think they're going to seriously compete. And then the Miami Dolphins, we'll see what happens. I mean, if the Miami Dolphins could be as dynamic as they were last year, I mean, this could be really tight. I think it's going to take 10 wins to win the division. I like the Bills to get there, so I'm taking the Bills in the AFC East. Moving on to the AFC South, where the Texans are favored at minus 110, followed by the Jags at plus 300, the Colts at plus 330, and the Titans at plus 1,000. I really like the Texans. I think the Texans could be the team that's going to move up a level. CJ Stroud had a great rookie year. They added Stephon Diggs. They added Joe Mixon as a running back, and they already got a good defense. I like the Texans in the division. I think the Jags are going to fall a bit. They're going to compete for a wild card, but I don't even think they get in as a wild card. I really like the Houston Texans, and I really like CJ Stroud as a potential MVP candidate to win the MVP this season, so I'm taking the Texans. And in the final division, the AFC North, the Ravens are favored at plus 145, along with the Bengals at plus 160, and then the Browns at plus 525, and the Steelers at plus 600. Although I really like the Ravens and what they did in adding Derrick Henry as their running back to try to compete for a Super Bowl. Obviously, they're bringing back Jackson as their reigning MVP. But I really like the Bengals. I really like Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow healthy with that explosive offense that they're going to have. I think they're going to be really good. I think they're going to win the division. I think Joe Burrow could possibly win an MVP, and the Bengals could be a possible dark horse to get to the Super Bowl. So I am going to take the Bengals to win the division in an upset, the Ravens to get in as a wild card, and I actually like the Browns to maybe fight for that last spot. They have arguably the best defense in the league. They have the reigning defensive player of the year in Myles Garrett. But can Deshaun Watson play well enough for them to win consistently? That is the big question. They need his offense, his great play, in order for the Browns to seriously compete, not only for the division, but to get in the playoffs. But I am going to take the Bengals here. Now, to round out my picks, in the NFC, the 49ers, the Eagles, the Bucks, and the Lions to win the division. And my wild card will be the Falcons, the Packers, and the Rams. And in the AFC, I like the Chiefs, the Bills, the Texans, and the Bengals. Wild card, I like the Ravens. I actually like the Browns and the possibility of the Jets in that one. Obviously, I'm leaving out my Raiders. I hope they can compete. If they're right there in the thick of it, obviously I'm going to pick the Raiders in that one. So those are my picks for the division. As far as the playoffs, AFC and NFC championship game, I like the Lions and the 49ers to battle for the NFC championship. And then the AFC side, I like the Bengals and the Texans. So hopefully I'm right about that. I don't have any odds on that at the moment, but that's who I'm picking as far as the semifinal. I'm not going to make a Super Bowl pick, but probably in a later video, I'll be able to give you one of those. But moving on to my prop bets, let's start with the Defensive Player of the Year. Let's start with Dallas Turner as a favorite at plus 450, Laiatu Latu at plus 475, Quinton Mitchell at plus 950, Terrion Arnold at plus 1,000, Jared Verse at plus 1,000. I like Dallas Turner. I like Laiatu Latu. Both of those guys, linebackers, one for Minnesota, Latu for the Falcons. I actually saw Dallas Turner perform against the Raiders yesterday in the preseason game at the time of this video, and he just flew off the screen. I really like him. I would put my money on him, and I would hedge with Latu from the Falcons. Moving on for Offensive Rookie of the Year, it's obvious Caleb Williams at plus 135, followed by Jaden Daniels at plus 550, Marvin Harrison Jr. at plus 750, Bo Nix at plus 1,200, and Xavier Worthy at plus 2,000. I like Caleb Williams, obviously, simply because the Bears have stacked him with very good talent for him on the offensive side of the ball. The Bears are going to be a factor if he plays well, and obviously he's going to command most of the votes if he plays well at quarterback. But the outside shot is Xavier Worthy. I think this guy could be the next Tyreek Hill if he runs the route tree well, if he's got good hands. At the moment, Hollywood Brown is injured with a knee injury, so Xavier Worthy is going to get some opportunity. So I can see him as a long shot, so put some money on him a little bit if you think he can grab that Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy. Comeback Player of the Year, Aaron Rodgers favorite at plus 130, Joe Burrow at plus 275, Kirk Cousins at plus 525, Nick Chubb at plus 950, and Deshaun Watson at plus 1,200. I've raved about Joe Burrow all over this video. I like Joe Burrow to win this at plus 275. You can go with Aaron. You could go with Aaron Rodgers, even though Aaron Rodgers would command some votes. But I like Joe Burrow. If he's elite, I think he can win it. An outside shot is Deshaun Watson. If the Browns play well defensively and Deshaun Watson can at least give them at least a glimpse of what he had with the Houston Texans, I think that's a nice risk to take. And in the regular season MVP odds, Pat Mahomes leads with plus 450, followed by CJ Stroud at plus 800, Josh Allen at plus 850, Joe Burrow plus 1,000. Then later on, Jordan Love at plus 1,200, Brock Purdy at plus 1,400, Dak Prescott at plus 1,500, and Lamar Jackson at plus 1,600. I like CJ Stroud. He's going to improve. He had a great rookie season. They added Stephon Diggs. They added Joe Mixon. So I really like him at plus 800. And Joe Burrow, like I said, I like him at plus 1,000. If he's healthy, I think he's going to be elite. I think the Bengals are definitely going to make some noise in the division. I think they're a dark horse to get to the Super Bowl. So I like those prop bets. So in closing, like I said, those are my picks. Please like and subscribe to the video. I want to be able to give you more content. I'm probably going to give you some more baseball picks. Hopefully I can do some dailies, and hopefully I can be back. Not only in Vegas, I'll do it from other places, but I want to be able to give you some football picks. And then later in the season, I'll give you my weekly picks of every game. But I'm going to give you some more content down the line. So like and subscribe to the channel. That's all, folks. Peace.